get as drunk as I thought I was going to get. Got into the car. I just said, "Ugh, I give up on getting drunk. Let me just get in the car and just drive." Got there. As I arrived, he was standing in the yard, and he saw me come. And then, so he was standing outside. I'm lying. He was standing outside of the yard. And then he saw me come. And then, the moment he saw, he came to speak to me. And then when he spoke to me, he saw the alcohol in the back seat. And immediately he switched the car off and he took the car keys. And, then he took me inside and he's like, "Look at her. Look how she looks, Ma. Look at how drunk she is. Just look at her." And then, but, the moment I pulled up, the alcohol pulled in. So I was already feeling it. But then I decided, you know what, let me just give it some time just to work. It's still working in my system. So I'm not going to say anything now. And then, um, you know, as I they put me on the couch and I was sitting on the couch. I was laying on the couch, and then they were like, "We're gonna go fetch her mother. Her mother needs to see how her daughter looks. Like they need to see this." And then my mom and them came, and they sat down and they were talking, and as they were talking, I felt, I'm ready now. The alcohol has finally kicked in. It's done its job. It's time for me to do my job. And then I got up and I started screaming at him, and I said, "Yeah, show everybody what a man you are now." And I pushed him because I was so furious, because that's how I felt that he would always treat me like I was like nothing. So I was like, "Yeah, show everybody what a man you are now. Show them." And I pushed him, and they were like, "Janine, no." His mother was like very upset that I pushed her son. um and thinking of this, there was one incident where um I don't know what happened, and he was like, "I'll smack you," and um his mother laughed about that, and she's like, "Oh, that's okay. Sometimes she was talking about the other son. She's like, "Sometimes he hits his wife." And I looked at her, I'm like, "No, no, no, no." I don't agree with abuse in any way, shape, or form. No, it's not okay. I'm not saying that sometimes there were times where I provoked him. I really did. But abuse is never okay. I would provoke him in a lot of ways. I would tell him that I just ate pork because he's Muslim. I was very nasty. I was very, very nasty. I didn't represent Jesus in a good light. Like I'm putting this out. I'm putting myself on the spot here. I'm saying what I did. What I did was wrong. Um, I would um, I would tell him bad things like, "Your God isn't real." You know, God is not like that. He wants us to respect one another. He tells us to respect each other. I had no respect for him. I'm not condoning his behavior. His behavior was way out of hand. I don't, I'm not for abuse. It doesn't matter what a woman does. A man should not lay his hands on a woman because a man is stronger than a woman. So a man should in no way, shape, or form lay his hands on a woman. I'm not in agreement with that, right? But what I'm saying is, I was not. I'm not going to paint myself to be the good wife here, the innocent little wife. I wasn't. I provoked him. I did. I used to provoke him a lot. Especially when it came to pork, and when I was pregnant, I would go to my mom's place just to go and eat pork and eat it in front of him. And then he would ask me, "Can you not do that with my baby. He was like, it's not only your baby, it's my baby too, and my baby wants pork, so I'm gonna eat the pork. You know, I would do things that would irritate him, and you know, so I'm not going to make him out to be a bad person. You know, that's not my intention. As I said, this is not my intention is not to hurt anybody with my testimony, right? This is about me, and how God has changed me and my life. So I'm not painting him to be this bad person. No, no, please don't take it like that. No, no, no. I was also not um I was in our marriage, I wasn't a good wife. I did things and I said things that I wasn't supposed to say, you know. Yeah, things I definitely, especially as a child of God, I didn't represent God in the best way or the best light. So I didn't. Yeah, okay, so they called my mom, right? When I was drunk. Getting back to the story, sorry. They called my mom. I was drunk on the couch, and then I pushed him, and I was like, "Yeah, show them what a man you are, because you like to show me what a man you are, and you like to do this." And his mother wasn't happy with that. She didn't want her son to be pushed, and that's when I don't know how I went outside, but I was making a huge scene. I remember it so clear as day. I was making a huge scene, and then they said, oh no, we need to take her home because she's making a scene here, and we don't like this, you know and I just continued. I mean, he liked the scenes, and I always told him, like, look, I was always the one not trying not to make a scene, but now, I mean, I had some alcohol in me, and a scene was something I was going to do. I was going, like, alcohol was just in my system, and it was just hitting me hard at that moment. So I was making a huge scene. I was screaming. I was outside, and I was like, people saw me. It's embarrassing, but that's what I did. It's very embarrassing, but you know we can't change the past. All you can do is, see the good of what Jesus has done, because he's taken me from that to, you know, who I am today. So after making a scene, they were like, "Oh, we're gonna drive you home." I was like, "Nobody's driving my car. I bought the car. Give me my car keys." Like, I was screaming, "I want my car keys! Like, nobody's gonna drive my car." And then, they gave me my, they were like, "Oh, give her car keys. She's making a scene. Let her just go." And then, I got in the car, drove home with my mom and my sister. I actually drove while I was so drunk. Um, I'm not laughing on it because it's funny. I'm laughing because it's embarrassing. So we got home, and then the next day my mother was supposed to. We went to church, right? Because it was the Sunday the next day, and then we were in the church service. My mother was accepting fellowship, where you go, like, on, like, I forget what it's called, when you, like, want to be part of the church, then you go, like, to the stage, and so that everybody can see, okay, you're part of the church now. So she was doing that, and I went with her. And while I was standing there on the stage, I literally felt like my body was shaking. It was shaking. I was literally shaking so badly. But I wasn't, like, shaking physically. It was just, like, in my mind. I felt this. So I think it was the alcohol that was just hitting me hard the next day. So after so the next day, right? So not the next day, sorry, after church, we then decided to meet up with my ex-husband so that we can discuss things and see a way forward. And then he decided that we both decided that it's better if we get divorced. So I said, I think that's the best decision. He thought it's the best. We both thought that it's the best decision because, our marriage was it was an unhealthy relationship. It was toxic, extremely toxic. Both of us were toxic to one another. So I'm not just gonna say it's him. I was also toxic towards him. We both were toxic. So we just decided, we're gonna call it quits. And then, a few days later, I was served with the divorce papers. Oh yeah, it was sad. It was very, very sad because I didn't want to get divorced. I really wanted us to work on our marriage. I still wanted to be married to him. And the Bible talks about divorce as well, that we are not supposed to get divorced. So, I just didn't want to get divorced. I was like, I don't want to do this. But, the situation is what it is, and if this needs to happen. So, you know. So, when I was served with the divorce papers a few days later, it wasn't a surprise because, I mean, we both agreed and, we knew that it was coming. So, he didn't support the child. And then, I was supporting the child on my own. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to take him to maintenance court because he needs to support the child. And then when I got to the maintenance court, I found out that I was divorced. That was a blow to my heart. Like, I'm being honest about it now. Before I wasn't. I put on a face. I pretended that everything was fine. I was like, oh, wow, I'm divorced. It's amazing, But inside, I was hurting so bad, And he said, yeah, the judge already ordered like the settlement for the child, for maintenance, a maintenance order's already been set out and da da da. And then, that honestly, in that moment, that hurt me so bad. And then I went on Facebook. Like as soon as I got out of the court and the courtroom, and I went on Facebook and I was like, "Yay! I want to celebrate because I'm finally divorced and I'm finally free." And then I forgot that his sister was still on like my Facebook page. I didn't even think of her. I didn't think of people of his family that I still had on Facebook. I really didn't care and think about that. And then she was like, "Oh, Janine, do you want to start something?" Um, no, she was saying something, and then my cousin stepped in and said, "Would you like to start something?" You know, and then that's when she unfriended me and she went. The thing is, with me, I never involved my family in our marriage. He would always involve his family. So, they were used to coming to his aid, they were like, I always seemed like I was the bad person in this relationship, Whenever he would make scenes, he would be like, she doesn't want to be she doesn't want to be with my family. She hates you guys. And, he would always paint me like this bad person. But as I said, both of us were toxic. So it was a toxic relationship. We were toxic towards one another, you know. I don't hate him anymore. I did before. I did. I'm not gonna lie about it. I hated him so much. God has helped me to find forgiveness. I don't hate him, not at all. I honestly, I would love to just, just, I don't know, like, I would love us to just have a conversation and, not fight and just, but I don't know, it's things that if it must happen, it will happen. Not saying reconcile. No, I don't want to reconcile with him. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, I would love us to just talk, as people, just normal people that were, we were in a relationship, it didn't work out, and let's move on. I don't hate you, and I'm not gonna hate you. And, you know, God honestly has given me a heart to forgive. I am so glad that I've forgiven him. It was hard because it was really hard for me to forgive him. I hated him for a long time, and it took me some time to get over him. I had to put on a face when people would ask me about my marriage. They're like, it didn't work out. We okay. I'm okay. I would put on this face. So, I would pretend like it's all okay. It's all fine, and I was fine. And knowing inside I wasn't fine, I was slowly breaking down. Um, and it hurt. It hurt so bad. And you know what? I then had to find something that would heal me. I had to, I started um, investing my time and money in makeup. And I started doing different looks. And, it took me maybe 3-4 years to get over him, because you don't just get over divorce. You don't just wake up one day and like, oh, I'm free, yay. No, no, no. It took me some time, we were married, and because it really hurt, so when I got over him, I just started doing makeup. I would do different looks every day. If I would wear like a black top, I would have like black eyeshadow, and like a yellow, I would have yellow eyeshadow. Like I would like match, and I would make sure that my makeup was on point all the time. I would make sure that I look good all the time. If I bumped into him in the office, I would pretend not to know him. I'd walk past him, making sure that I look good. And, when I pass him, he sees me looking good. He doesn't see me um, looking like a little rag doll. That was so pity. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I did. Um, because I had nobody that I could confide in. I couldn't. I didn't have friends that I could be like, hey guys, I'm going through a rough time. It's hard, it's I didn't have anybody. So I had to, you know, do this on my own. I had to figure it out on my own. I had to there was no one, because remember I isolated myself, and so I was alone. I shut people out. So because I did that, I didn't have anybody. I had nobody that I could confide in, nobody that I could tell my real feelings to. I had to suffer in silence. But makeup helped me. It did. It was my crutch, that I went to. So it it really, yeah, it really, really did help, right? So even though I also didn't depend on God, and I didn't trust in God, and was rather trusting in makeup, God was still there for me, every step of the way. He kept me alive, he like just took care of me all the time. Um, I then started pursuing my career, and I was still a Christian, you know. I mean, surely God will understand. I need to have a career, and I'll focus on the God things afterwards. Surely He will understand. I mean, careers are important too. Yes, in the Bible it does say, if a man doesn't work, he shouldn't eat. But at the same time, career is not something you should be focused on. God wants a relationship with you. He wants your time. He wants you to invest that time in him. But I focused on my career, and I was always having my makeup on point, and I just wanted to get a better life, and I wanted a better life for my child, and so I was like, I am gonna be the best me that I can be. Then a point in time came where I started complaining, because I wasn't getting anywhere, so I was stagnant in my job, and I just started complaining, and I wasn't happy. And then I would hear myself complain, and I wouldn't like it. It makes me think of a Bible verse that says, this is from the Good News translation, Proverbs 27. Oh, I didn't write the verse down. Okay. A nagging wife, verse 15, sorry. A nagging wife is like water going drip, drip, drip on a rainy day, which is what I sounded like. So I hated the fact that I was whining and complaining. And then, you know what? I said, let me change my attitude. Let me just become the best me that I can, I was like, I am now deciding to climb the corporate ladder. I'm going to do it at all costs. Like, nobody and nothing is going to stop me on my way up. And I said to myself, not even God. Okay, I was too busy being a better person and making my own money and being independent, not needing anyone, not needing friendships, not needing people. I didn't need anybody. I was going to be gorgeous with my makeup on point and always professional, and my makeup would always be on point, and I would make sure of that. There was not a day would go by where I wouldn't have makeup on my face. And that's the person that I started becoming, and I didn't need anybody. I didn't need nobody. That's what I told myself. That's why I was so isolated and alone. I remember I had a shield up because of my hurt, because of what happened with my mother earlier on in my life. So that caused me to have a shield. And then another thing that also caused me to have a shield was, people did hurt me along my life. They did. They hurt me a lot. Even my colleagues at work, they like, I only know how to speak two languages, which is English and Afrikaans. And my colleagues would know different languages, and I didn't understand. So we would sit together, and we'd have a conversation, and we'd be laughing, and we'd have fun. And then all of a sudden someone else comes, speaks a different language, and then they forget about me. That really hurt me. It was very hurtful. So I just knew people were toxic, and I told myself that I would not ever, ever trust anybody in my life. I hated people. I was like, I'm not a people's person. I hate people. I hate them. They hurt. People just hurt. They just know how to hurt you, and that's all they can do. That's all. That's what I told myself. I was so wrong. It's true, people do hurt you, and that's not going to change. But at the end of the day, we can't walk around not having people in our lives. We need one another. We do. We need one another. So, me saying, I don't need anybody. No, no, we need one another. We do. See, when I was going through my life, as you listen to the story, when I got divorced, I had nobody. I had a baby. I just had my family there. I didn't really have people. Like, I didn't have anybody. As we go deeper into the next parts of my life, you'll see I still needed people, but I was too stubborn, you know. So let's go deeper. So I took part in the choir at work. I decided to participate, and I was like, let me lose this attitude of complaining, and let me just, just start afresh, and just let me just do this thing, just become a new me, a new person, with my makeup on point, obviously, and my career in mind, and my outfits on point, and my heels, like where would a girl be without her heels? So uh so that week in the choir, it was easy for me. I didn't really have to like these people that I was with. They were just there, and we had to talk because we're going to be together for a whole week. And besides, before that, we were practicing in the choir. So before that, I had to sit with these people, these people, people, not these, just people. I had to sit with people, and as we were practicing, and it was just, I just sat there and I was like, I'm not here to make friends. These are not my friends. And I don't need friends. So I'm just going to pretend to like whoever, or I'll just smile with everybody. And as soon as it's over, I'm done. I don't need to be in contact with anybody. So, I'd be friends with you on Facebook, but it doesn't really mean that I'm a friend. That's how I was before. Okay. Okay, let's remember that I'm a changed person now. So the week of the choir, the last week that we had together was, it was I didn't I really enjoyed myself there, because we were at this place. So when we were there, right, I don't want to give too much information, because I don't want to speak about the company. This is not about them. This is about me, my story. So when we were at this place, we had like the whole week we had to do the same thing over, and there was a lot of things to see, a lot of things to do. So when I didn't want to be in a conversation with someone, I'd simply be like, oh wow, look at that, look at that. And then when they'd look, I'd just walk away, just be like, oh, I found something else, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just distracted. Yeah, it was easy for me not to have conversations with people. It was very, very easy just to get away from people, because I don't want to be with them anyway. So it was easy for me. Um, so and then went for interview in another department. Oh, I prepared for the interview. I got it. Got the job. I was so happy. And now I was working normal working hours, and I was so excited. I did my research on the company, like the position, right? Because it was still the same company, it's just a different position. So I did so much research on the position, so that I could be the best that I could be in this position. So I just researched, and I just wanted to be the best. I was like, you know what, this position is just a stepping stone in launching the rest of my career. As I said, I was just career focused. I was still a Christian, Christian, but I wanted to have my career. I mean, God understands, right? No. So, I was like, this is just a small step. After this, it's lights, camera, action, and I'm gonna be far. I'm gonna be, I'm like, I was just planning like my life. I was planning. I was just so excited. You know what God says? You may make your plans, but God, in the Bible, it says, you may make your plans, but God directs your actions. That is so true. That is so, so true. Okay, so I didn't buy data intentionally. So data intentionally. The reason why I didn't buy data is because I don't want to chat with anybody. These weren't my friends. They were just my colleagues. So I would see you at work. We don't have anything to talk about when I'm at home. When I'm at home, I'm at home. So I don't need to be chatting with anybody. So then I would get to the office, there'd be Wi-Fi, and when I walk in, they'd be like, "Oh, I sent you a message." I'd be like, "Oh, did you now? I didn't see that. Let me look at my phone." I'd be like, "Oh, here's your message." I'm like, "Oh, I don't buy data, because I mean, we've got Wi-Fi." Like, then they're like, "But how are we supposed to reach you?" I'm like, "Well, if you really want to see me, I'm here tomorrow. I'm here like every day of the week. We can always talk when we are. Like, it was my way of telling them, we're not friends. Don't try and be my friend. I don't want to be your friend. Like, I'm not gonna be your friend. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to work. Okay? And that's all I was here for. And yeah, that was really wrong of me. I see that now, and but God has changed my heart. God has, like, it's literally all God. Like, I didn't lift a finger, because when I tried, I would make a mess of things, but God just made it wonderful. He made it wonderful. So okay, moving on to what happened next. Okay, so we went to a work function, and the manager harassed me. I remember feeling so cheap and worthless and like trash. Yeah, I actually do remember feeling like that. Okay, I mean, I put so much work into my appearance. I always looked professional. My makeup was always on point. In that moment, I felt like that was all for nothing. I laughed it off. Even when he said it loudly to everyone, I pretended that it never happened, but my heart sank, and there I was, all alone, after so much work to build myself up and boost my confidence. Yeah, I remember that moment. So I'm not going to go into much detail about what happened, and yeah, I don't want to just okay. The following Monday, I walked into the office dressed professionally as always. The reason why I wrote this down is because I don't want to go into much detail of what was said, what was, so that's why I wrote it down. Yeah, okay, so I walked into the office, dressed professionally, and my makeup was always done professionally. I always look professional, as always. And I told myself that I was just gonna forget what happened. And after all, I was there for work. you know. This promotion was just a stepping stone to launch my career. I considered it as water under the bridge, right? I saw the manager walk when I walked in the offices. I was greeting everybody, I was happy. I was a happy person, I was a very happy person. I always used to smile at everybody and greet everyone. And I always used to be a friendly person, but people didn't know what was lying behind that friendliness was very unfriendliness. I was very unfriendly. Um, yeah, so my colleagues, as time went by, my manager started to victimize me in the office. Uh, I just well, the reason why he victimized me was because I declined his advances, So it was very, very hard for me working in the office. Um, I remember this one day, because it's an open plan, right? So you get to see everyone and you get to see what everybody's doing. Um, I remember he came up to me this one time and he said something really, really hurtful in front of everybody, and that's what he liked doing. He used to like embarrassing me in front of my colleagues, and I mean, these are people I hardly know. I don't even want to spend time with them, and he's embarrassing me in front of all of them. And I remember just that day, I just went into the toilet and I went to go cry. I couldn't, like, I couldn't hold myself together. I just needed to go and cry. And then, I came from the bathroom and, I composed myself and I was like, nobody's gonna know that I was crying. And the thing is, I can't cry because of my makeup, I don't want to ruin my makeup. So it was hard for me. It was really, really hard. So, I just always try to just brush it off, this victimization and everything. So, I speak to my colleagues, I tell them, look, guys, this is happening and I am not happy. And like, what do I do? Like, how do we solve this thing? Like, why doesn't he want to leave me alone? I just want to be left alone. I'm here to work. I'm here, and honestly, it affected the way I was performing. It affected my performance. I couldn't perform. I I was always below the line. I was always staying behind for overtime. I was always at the office, always, because I was trying to make up for, well, I won't say that contributed. There was other things that also contributed to the fact that I was staying at the office late, like work things. But honestly, I I felt so worthless. The time I felt worthless was, the first time my mother made me feel that way. Then my ex-husband, and I thought it was over. I finally gained confidence. I finally gained self-confidence, and I I was doing me. I was being happy. And I thought that this is it. This is it. I've done it. And then here the manager comes. The reason I didn't say anything to him was because he was very arrogant. So if I had said anything, um, I wouldn't have had my job. He was used to getting things his way. He was it was just very hard to talk to him. So I was afraid of him. I was very afraid of him, and I couldn't answer him back. So all I did when he would say certain things, I would just look down, or Like I would answer him and then just walk away or just look down, or I tried to avoid him at all cost. I tried my best to avoid him, because I just wanted to get my next promotion. I was on a promotion adrenaline because I just got one promotion, so I wanted the next promotion. So I didn't want him to get in my head. I was like, I'm not gonna let this guy get in my head, even though it's affecting me so much. I'm just not gonna let this get into my head. Yeah, I tried to play it off. I definitely did. Okay, then we then moved to another building, right? I started becoming sick, you know. I would see stars and my left arm would go numb. Oh, I remember that. And, I would sit in the taxi and then, as my left arm would go numb, I would just you know what, I told my doctor. This was the year before. I told my doctor, like, what, doctor, there's something wrong with me. My arm just goes numb, and that time it wasn't that bad. But when we moved to the new office, it's like it became worse. Like my arm just, and you know what, I started getting worried, and I'm thinking, oh no, there's something wrong. I must have like a pinched nerve, or like there's something wrong. There's just something majorly wrong with me, and I need to go and get surgery. I need to go and get this done. So, when I told my doctor this last year, he told me to go see a neurologist. So that year I was like, okay, you know what? He told me to go get a neurologist. So the beginning of the year I then went to see the neurologist, and the neurologist then booked me in, and I stayed in the hospital for like a week, I think, or less. I can't remember, a week or less. And while I was in the hospital, they were doing all the tests, like CAT scans and all the scans, and and then he came back and he's like, I can't find anything. I couldn't understand it. I'm like, what? What do you mean you can't find anything? I just explained my problem to you and you can't find anything. How is this possible? How is this possible? I am not coping and you can't find anything. Find something, doctor. Well, I didn't say that to him. I was thinking that in my head. You know, again, I had nobody to talk to, nobody to share these feelings with, nobody. I had to do it all on my own. Because I made that decision to, not have people in my life and to rely on myself. So, you know, I didn't have anybody to talk to. So then, I then, the pains got really, really bad, you know. Yeah, sorry if I read it off the page and then I forget. So let me just remember what happened. So, the pains, they got really, I started getting a pain in my chest. I remember right here. Like I would have this pain. And then, and then there was another pain here. And I think I'm getting a heart attack. Sorry, it's just so, I'm laughing because it's so embarrassing because I wasn't having a heart attack, but I was, thinking the worst things possible and thinking, oh no, I'm having a heart attack and I'm gonna die, and like I can't die now. I've just started like having confidence and like I'm climbing up the ladder, and and like I can't die now, you know. I didn't think of relying on Jesus, asking Jesus to help me. No. All I could think about was I have a career, I have makeup that I bought. That makeup, I need to wear that makeup. And another thing the Bible says, tomorrow is promised to no man. Yeah, I am making my plans, thinking, I'm still gonna have time to do things, and no, no. So, these pains got worse and worse. I started seeing stars. I started becoming so dizzy. Like, my arm would go numb. It was just really, really bad. And then I decided, you know what? I am now going to. I remember that one day, like my supervisor gave me the number for iCares. Now, iCares is this thing that you call when you're having, so it's like counseling sessions over the phone. Yeah. And then this woman told me, oh, you know what? You are having a panic attack. I was like, what? What's that? You know, I don't know what panic attacks are. I've never had a panic attack. I've just was like, no, something sounds wrong, yeah, lady. And she's like, oh, you know what? I like people to use like um what did she say? What's the word? Like not medication. I want you to go on like some like she said drink some chamomile tea, take some rescue tablets, because it's not like medication, I was like, okay, fine, I'll try that. And I did try that. I bought chamomile tea or lavender oil. She also said I bought lavender oil. I bought the things, and nothing was happening. I remember sitting at my desk, and the tears just started running down my face. It just came and it wouldn't stop. I couldn't stop it, and I'm sitting there, and I decided to get up and go to the bathroom, because I mean, these are the colleagues that I don't want to have anything to do with. They're not my friends. So I don't want them to see me in this situation. I don't want them to see me emotional. It's none of their business. What happens in my life is nobody's business. This is the attitude I had. I walked into the toilet, and then I remember, the lady who was cleaning was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I'm fine. I'm fine." I just wanted to be left alone. And then one of my other colleagues, who I know was on some medication for some antidepressants or something, she walked in and she was like, "Janine, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I came out and I started speaking to her, and I was like, "You know what? Can you just give me one of your tablets? Just one." I was like, "Please, please just give me one. I just want the pain to go away." I'm like, "Please, please, I just want this pain to go, because I just, I just wanted to get on with my work. I just wanted my career. I just wanted to be professional. I didn't want my colleagues seeing me like this. I don't want to be an embarrassment to myself. I, I just wanted the pain to leave. I just I just wanted it to go. And uh, the pain to go. And it didn't. And I was like, "Please, can you just give me just one tablet?" And she was like, "No, I can't give you one tablet, because if I give you one tablet, then I'm gonna miss, like I have tablets for 30 days, so I'm gonna miss one day." She's trying to explain that to me. I couldn't understand it, and I kept begging her, and she said, "No, I'm sorry, Janine, I can't give you a tablet. I'm sorry." you know um that day was the worst day of my life. And then I just remember then going to my doctor, and I told my doctor, look, the neurologist comes back and he's like, there's nothing wrong. They did all the tests. Here's all the scans. I give him the CAT scans. I give him everything. And he has a look and he says, okay, okay, fine. And then he says, you know what, Janine? I would like you to see a psychiatrist. And I'm thinking, my doctor thinks I'm crazy. You know, he he's not taking me serious. He's telling me to go see a psychiatrist. Like, I'm telling them about this pain and they just pushing me from pillar to post. Why aren't they helping me? You know, I finally went to the psychiatrist. I didn't want to go at first. I was like, no, this doctor is not taking me serious. And then I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just try it out. Because, like I said, I just wanted the pain to go. It was hurting so bad. And I couldn't explain. I didn't understand. I didn't understand why. I couldn't understand. I didn't understand what was hurting me so bad. It didn't make sense to me. Like, it just didn't make sense, you know. So, I went to the psychiatrist. So when I got to the psychiatrist, then he booked me in, which was another thing where I was like, why things I'm not right in my head. Okay, so I'm just reading. So this is things I've already spoken about. I don't want to repeat because and then after I was booked in, I had some counseling sessions, with my psychiatrist, and things, and they gave me medication, and the medication helped. It really did, because my emotions were everywhere and I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't stop myself from crying. I just wanted the pain to be numb. I just wanted to be numb. It was just, I didn't understand. It didn't make sense why I was emotional, why I was hurting. I just wanted it to go away. And then, so the psychiatrist gave me medication, and it helped. It calmed me down. Right. And then, while in my counseling sessions, that's when we discovered that it's because of the sexual harassment that I was the way I was, and the victimization. And I remember she said to me, the counselor, she's like, you know what, Janine, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but if you want to lay your complaint, that's up to you. I am not going to convince you to do this, because you have to decide, and you have to make up your own mind. And I sat there and I told myself, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be the woman who cries harassment, because you get stuck with that title. Oh, she cried harassment, so we need to be careful because she says people harass her. I didn't want that label on me. But at the same time, I became sick. So I had to make a choice. And I decided to leave, to lodge the grievance, I sent the email while I was in the hospital to HR and let them know. And yeah, and then they then didn't respond immediately. Yeah, that's one thing I remember. They didn't respond immediately. And what happened is I remember they met with me in a place, in a public place, so that I could give my statement. This was when I was out of the hospital. And yeah, okay. Before I get to that, let's just. Oh, I remember meeting a friend in the hospital. Um, so soon after that, right? So this friend was also in the hospital. She was staying in the hospital as well, right? So we met and, we became friends. And yeah, so because we were basically both like on medication and we understand, and people wouldn't judge, we wouldn't judge one another because, I mean, you here, I'm here, who's to judge, you know? So then my ex-boyfriend then came to see me. He asked if he could see me, and I said, yeah, you can come see me. Yeah, and I wasn't attracted to him at all. I didn't even want to give him, like, I just didn't want to be around him. I just wasn't into him at all, um and then I spoke to my friend. I was like, come see, like, I want you to come meet this guy. So he's gonna come here. I want you to see how he looks. He, like, I don't know what he wants from me, but obviously I know. So what do you think about this guy? Like, and I was telling her, look, the last time I had sex was with my ex-husband, which was like 6 years ago. And because I know what the Bible says about fornication, so I'm not gonna fornicate. So that's why I haven't. So but I didn't tell her now about the Bible. So I just like used to think that in my mind. And then she said, I don't worry. Sometimes, you just need a release. You just need to have fun, And then in that moment, it was like, maybe that's why all these things are happening to me, because I'm not in the right headspace. Maybe I need to get out of the headspace I'm in and stop thinking about fornication the way I'm thinking about it. Maybe the way I'm thinking about it is wrong, and I just need to do what I'm thinking right now, which is have fun. Maybe then things will be better for me. Then the next day, I had another visitor. Like, this was a colleague that I worked with a couple of years before I moved to the other department. Then I asked her to come and check because, I was very attracted to this guy, this colleague of mine. But what stopped me is the fact that he was married. So, yeah, I remember that, we would flirt, but I would always try to avoid him because, the Bible talks about lusting after someone else's, it would say someone else's wife, but also husband as well. Don't lust after someone else's husband. Don't lust is what the Bible says. So I would try and avoid him at all costs because, I just, I didn't want to be in that situation, and and then he decided to come and visit me. I was like, okay, yeah, you can come and visit me. I didn't want him to because, I mean, I didn't trust myself around him, and I knew what he wanted also, at the same time, because he's a handsome man, very handsome, and I'm thinking, what do you, like, I know what you want, but you're a married man, please stop flirting with me, So in Matthew 5, verse 27 and to 28, right, it says, ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not commit adultery, right? But I say unto you that whoever looketh at a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery already with her in his heart. So, God already like judged me for committing adultery with him in my heart, right? So as I walked into his car, after he came to visit me, right, he then kissed me and I kissed him back. But immediately after that, I wasn't attracted to him. I was just so happy that I was no longer attracted to him. And in that moment, I was like, oh, thank you, Lord, for taking that away. Because now, but when I would see pictures of him, or if I would see him again, yeah, I'm just glad I don't see him anymore. Let's just say that. Okay, yeah. But now, no, but now also, I pray and I'm like, God, if I'm in a situation that I know that I can't handle, and I know that, what, this is not good for me, and this is how I feel in this situation, I pray to God and God helps me. That's what I've realized now, is that we need God, I need him. I need him for everything. Everything I need God, even when I go shopping, because I have a tendency to buy sometimes things I don't need. And, so I pray before I go shop, and I'm like, God, please just help me buy the necessities and help me not to buy like things that I don't need, because I'm going to end up spending unnecessary money that I don't need to be spending, where I could have saved it for other things, because there was a time in my life when I moved to the place where I am now, and I couldn't afford to buy a lot of things. Like I couldn't afford, like I just couldn't. And I remember there was a time where we didn't have food, there was no food, nothing. And I started praying. I was like, God, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know. I'm not going to ask anybody. I'm coming to you because I don't know what to do. And you know what? God then supplied, in the form of, I won vouchers at work, card vouchers. And I was like, wow, thank you, God. This is so amazing, Okay, I'll get to that. I'll get to that. Yeah, but yeah, okay. So I kept in touch with the other guy, the one that I wasn't attracted to, right? I remember telling him that I was ready to have sex with him, and he asked if I was sure, and I said yes. Because I thought about my friend's words, like, don't think about it at all, just go and have fun, and why not, and she's like, don't put a title on it, don't, just have fun. I was thinking, you are right, let me do that. Now the Bible warns us against fornication, right? In First Thessalonians, there are many verses, but First Thessalonians 4 verse 5, right? For this is the will of God, even your sanctification, that ye should abstain from fornication, right? To be honest, I had no problem obeying this word of God before, when I was self-centered. But now that I was broken down, I thought I was following his ways, even though I wasn't really. I thought to myself, look, I've been faithful to God. I haven't fornicated. Because I haven't done certain things. I thought myself a Christian. I was like, but now God is like, now I broke down after following God all this way, and I'm still at this point. I was angry. And I told myself, I'm just gonna do whatever I want, right? I didn't care anymore. I remember the little hope I had in Christ. that I was holding on to, I just dropped it. I don't want to say it out loud, but I knew in my heart I was done with God. Right? Because I didn't have fellowships with other Christians and with no one. So there was no one there to tell me not to do this. Right? In Hebrews 10, verse 25, it says, let us not give up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but let's encourage one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. See, even God tells us that we need one another. We need to be in fellowship with one another. We need one another. So I started fornicating with this man. And because I was already at a low point, and I was taking medication to numb the pain, I just didn't care, right? So he booked us into like a hotel. He would book a hotel and we would go there, and I saw a red flag, and I felt cheap as well, because I'm going to a hotel to just go fornicate. It was I told myself, I'm already in this, so I'm not going to bother to find out whether this man is married or not. It's pointless now. I'm already fornicating with him, so let me just continue. And I remember sending letters to HR to let them know that my doctor said I was fine to come back to work, right? But before this, HR met up with me, right? This was to find out when I laid the grievance, right? So they met up with me in like a public place to find out so I felt like they were attacking me in the meeting that we had. It was as if I was lying, but I was telling the truth. I had no reason to make this up. All I wanted was a career. And I didn't want to be the woman who cried sexual harassment. Like I was saying, I didn't want to be that woman. Because you'd have this label stuck to you. Like, oh, she cried sexual harassment. There she goes. And everybody's going to know. Everybody's going to know that you did that. So we had a hearing, and I remember HR had a call from one of the other colleagues, right? Then I heard her calling ER, so I couldn't hear what the colleague was saying over the phone. But when she called ER, that's when I heard her saying that the manager was threatening anybody who was standing with me on this. He threatened people in the office. Right? We then had the hearing. I was so nervous because I was so afraid of this man. So I didn't want to see him, like fear kicked in the moment. It was like, okay, you're gonna now have to face him, so I didn't have anyone to represent me, and the manager was attacking me in the hearing, right, with his manager. So his manager represented him in the hearing, right? So they were focusing on like my performance, and they were talking about the conversations I had with iCares, which is actually, it's confidential when you speak to iCares. But regardless whether iCares shared the information or not, I was being honest, and I wasn't lying. And at that point, I just didn't care what actually happened. I just wanted it to be over. I just wanted to get rid of the pain. I didn't want to have this pain that I had. It was awful, awful pain. I just wanted to go away. I just wanted to be like everybody else, I just wanted to be normal, So anyway, God gave me strength and courage to do it. Even though I'd given up on God, He was still there for me. He never gave up on me. Right after I was done with my hearing, right, and then like stating why I filed why I lodged the grievance. Then they, they moved me out of the room, and then as I like moved out, I saw some of my colleagues, like the same ones I confided in, go and represent him again. People were hurting me. so so understand why I have people trust issues. Anyway, so after the hearing, I was still at home, and then I kept going to my psychiatrist. He kept giving me letters to tell HR that I was well enough to come back to the office, because I still wanted to work. The medication was kicking in, so it was really helping me numb the pain. It was, I was numb. So that's what I wanted. I just wanted to be numb. I don't want to feel it, because it was just too much for me. It was awful. So then I received an SMS from one of the HR ladies who was, when the hearing was happening, she was assisting me and she was there. She sent me an SMS letting me know that she left the company. And then when she did that, then I realized, oh, I need to send a letter to the new HR representative, or to another HR representative. Then I did that. They called me in to work, and then they said I had to go back to the same position. I broke down in front of them. I remember breaking down. Somehow I have a habit of embarrassing myself in front of people that I don't know, that I don't want to know in that way. I just think that, it's ironic. I didn't want these people knowing me and knowing my business, and yet they knew all about me. These colleagues, these HR people, they knew like my life. They knew what was happening. So I asked about the manager. I was like, okay, so where's the manager? Oh, and HR was like, oh, sorry for not telling you. He was dismissed. That was it. So the meeting was adjourned. I then started coming into the office each day. There was no work assigned to me, nothing. I didn't sit with anyone, right? Any of them, like anybody. I didn't want to sit with anybody. I remember finding a corner on my own. Like I sat alone in a little corner, and where people don't go sit normally. I sat there, and I enjoyed just being on my own, right? I think this was for 3.5 years, if I'm not mistaken. But I came into the office each day with no work to do. I received no salary increase, no bonus, nothing. It was like I was working for the company, but not really working for the company. So I then discovered the man I was fornicating with was married, right? I was so furious, right? I then looked up his wife online and found her. So how I found out was he's married is he spoke about his ex-wife, right? He was telling me, oh, I'm divorced and da da da. And, then he mentioned her name. Then he sent me her picture. And then I went searching for her on Facebook, found her. I sent her friend request under like his name. She accepted, and then that's when I like sent her a message, and like I was trying to find out if they were divorced or what was happening. And she was like, oh yeah, no, we are still married, but we are going through a divorce. I was so angry. I was so angry, because now not only did I fornicate, but I committed adultery. I just, it went from bad to worse. I I just wasn't like I wasn't happy. Then we decided we're gonna catch him. She was like, okay, he's gonna come to my place on this and this and this day because he needs to see the child, because they had a child together. And then I was like, okay, fine, I'll be on the phone while you do that. And then um, he walked in, and then I started like she said she's gonna say like a word. So when she says that word, she's going to ask him, do you love me? And when he says he loves her back, and then I should like start responding, like, and that's when I started responding over the phone. I was like, oh, so you guys are together, so what about me? And like, you didn't tell me this, that, and the other, and it was just a whole big scene. Something I didn't want to be involved in. I don't want to be involved in other people's marriages. I'm no, it just, I didn't want to be there. Um, at the same time, my mother also kicked me out, so I had a fight with my mother, and I was staying with my aunt and them. So like, it wasn't the best place to be staying at, because they at my aunt, where my aunt and my family was staying, right? It just wasn't like, there was just a lot of family issues happening, and I didn't want to be involved in that. There was just so much going on. It's not that I didn't want to be involved, it's just that there was just so much going on. I already was on medication. I had my own things that I needed to figure out, and I couldn't speak to anybody about it. I had to deal with this on my own. So I didn't want like other things added on, to my life. It was just too much already. I didn't want anything else. So me being involved in other people's marriage, and then like in the family home, and then just so many things just happening at the same time, I was just so overwhelmed. And then for the first time I actually got to know my sister while living at the family home, because my sister and I always had a love-hate relationship. So I finally got to know her for who she is. And you know, I finally stopped hating my sister, because I also had a hate relationship with my sister. Because I always said, well, I always used to think she was my mother's favorite, and that's why my mother treated me the way she did, because she hated me. But yeah, that's. But I love my sister. I love my family. I'm no longer the same person. Okay. I'm no longer a person who doesn't want to be with people. I want to be with people. So if you see me on the street, say hi to me, say hi. If you want to have a conversation with me, come on up. I'm a really friendly person, and it's not going to be pretend. I'm not going to be fake with you. It's going to be for real. So if you like, come up to me. I want to have a conversation. I want to talk. I want to be with people. So yeah, just don't be creepy. Yeah, because I know it's still some people are so creepy. So, I mean, in the sense of, I don't even know how to explain that, but we get the picture, right? Don't be creepy. So I felt so guilty, for committing adultery with her husband, that I wanted to make it up to her in any way that I could. She wanted me to have a charge against him laid against him, which I did. She wanted me to tell her family that I fornicated with her husband. I did that. I didn't care what it made me look like. I didn't care. I was at the point of no care. I just wanted to make up to her. But it drained me so much, because she would sit on the phone with me for hours and hours. I couldn't handle it. At the end of the day, I just blocked her, because I couldn't. It's not that I hate her, or look, I had my own things going on in my life. Like I said, I had my medication that I was taking. I had, like, there was just too much going on in my life. I couldn't, I didn't want to cope with anything else. It was just too much already. So, um, so I just stayed with my family, like in the family place, just for like a couple of months, like maybe 3, 4 months, and then I moved out to my own place. Even though my salary never increased, and everything else went up. God still kept me. God never left my side. Right? This is where I was telling you about the gift cards. Where there was a time I didn't have food because when I moved out, it was really hard for me. I couldn't afford to buy a lot of things, and I had to be very careful with the money because we had to like travel, so I needed to make sure there was time money for transport and all of that. So like, and the school fees were very expensive, and there was just so much. So this one time I just didn't have any money for food. I had no money, nothing. And then I remember God just, I won these gift cards at work, and then they sent me, and and I sat there and I was like, I don't have money in my bank account. There's nothing. I don't have any money. What am I going to do? Who am I going to talk to? Who am I going to ask? And I was like, God, I'm not going to ask anybody. I'm asking you. I got no money. I have nothing. Like, where do I go? And then, God then provided in the form of gift cards, that I won at work for good performance. I don't even know how I won good performance, but like I was just so happy, and that vouchers was enough for enough food. I had enough food that I could get with those. It was so wonderful, really, really wonderful. Yeah, so yeah, God always made sure there was enough for everything, Um, and then I remember getting rid of the guy and his wife. As I was saying, I just got rid of them. I wanted to start from scratch, and my psychologist recommended a church, right? Not my psychiatrist, my psychologist, because I met a psychologist. I searched for my own psychologist because the one the psychiatrist provided me was just, I didn't, yeah, no, wasn't for me. So then I looked up my own psychologist, and I liked my psychologist that I picked, and I stuck with him because it was better for me. And he recommended a church to me, and then I went to this church. Got there, I felt so self-conscious because everybody knew one another, and they had genuine smiles. I mean, genuine. And they were hugging one another. And man, oh, I hated it there. I hated it because they were really friendly. I don't want that. I was used to going into church, walking out, hearing the word of God, leaving, not smiling with anybody. I don't want to smile. I don't want to, you know. And then, I told myself I'm never going to go to the church again that first day. And the worst part of all, my daughter, I used her as a crutch. I make her sit with me. And then they were like, oh, we have Sunday school. We're going to take her to Sunday school. I'm like, okay, all right. I was so annoyed that they took her away from me. Like, like she was, oh, I wanted her there. And then she was gone to Sunday school, and I was there alone, which made me even more open. Oh, and I told myself I'm never coming back here. And then, I just had this feeling again that I needed to go to church. And, funny enough, there are other bigger churches. However, I just kept thinking about this specific church. It just stuck in my mind. I don't know why. God, see how God works. So, you know, I remember then going to the service, and then when I was there was this woman speaking. I can't remember what she was speaking about, but it really touched me, and I was like, wow, that was so amazing. Like, but anyway, I came for the word, and I got an amazing word, and now I need to go, you know. And then, I got in the car, and as I was driving, they stopped me. I'm like, oh no. And it's the pastor and this other like woman. So they stopped me and they're like, oh, we would like to invite you to our home group. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, no, I don't. No, I don't do home groups. I'm sorry. But I'm like, yeah, I would love that. Definitely. Yeah, sure. I'll come. So, so, I arrived late at the home group, and, the whole night they were talking about time. Oh, we should keep time, and I was so annoyed with these people because they kept talking about time, and they were like, oh, we're not talking about you specifically, we're just saying that it's nice to keep time so that we can leave on time. And I was like, okay, these people, like, they think I can't keep time. I'm gonna show them. I'm gonna come to the next one, and I'm gonna be here before the time. I want to show them that I can do this if I want to, just to show them, basically. Just gonna show them. And then I arrived like way before the time. And then as time went by, I got to know them, and I started liking it there. I actually really enjoyed fellowshipping with others. I put my shield down. At the same time, God was working in me, and I was in a deep dark pit, like deep dark. I thought there was no hope for me. There was no way out. But you know what? God came. He reached down, and I see His hand literally reaching down for me, coming and pulling me out of that pit and saying, I love you. You are mine. If God didn't do that, if God didn't care about me this much, I don't know where I would be. Because as you can see from my life, from my story, that, I was being a Christian, and I was doing what I thought was required, what God wants from me. I was, even though I was concerned about careers and makeup, and I was a child of God. I mean, okay, so I was in the office one day, and I was just really angry, and I felt like something snapped in me because I was just tired of coming to work every day and not having work to do. So, okay, before I get to that, in this time, I would play Facebook games and YouTube. Literally, I went to work just to play Facebook games and YouTube. Like, work, like, that was so weird for me. It was very weird, and it was very discouraging. Anyway, but at the same time,